Hey, me and Matt here. This is Killer Kyle, and welcome to Wheels of Fury. Now, before we get to today's episode, we want to mention another great loss that has happened this week. We lost another true giant in Bruno Sammartino.
Probably the biggest legend in wrestling. Yeah, passed away sometime this week, I think.
And way too soon. Well,
He was 82,
Yeah.
so I mean.
by
That's not-
today's standards, I don't know. It's very sad. Probably one of the oldest guys that passed away wrestling standards. But it's like,
Well, him and Mae Young
yes,
aren't that far apart in age. He was 82, she was 90.
yeah, that is true.
So there's like 6-7 years difference, but still, yeah.
I was watching him get inducted into the Hall of Fame, watching him on Legends with JBL,
Yes.
and thinking, gee, it's like, how long do you think he's gonna live? Not that I wished any death upon him, but it's like legends. Well, people in the wrestling business in general tend to not have very longevity, and fortunately, Mae Young and Bruno Sammartino did.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago we lost Johnny Valiant.
Johnny Valiant, yeah.
So,
Johnny Valiant, now Bruno.
yeah. I mean, you look at Bruno Sammartino, and he is along one of those guys that was the longest WWF champion from 1978 to probably 80. Well, I have no idea, to be honest with you. In fact, I'll put it on the video anyways, but one of those guys that held the title for a long time. You look at the people that won as the longest champions ever, never measured up to Bruno Sammartino.
Oh no, I mean, you got people holding a title on average a little over 200 days, sometimes 300 days, rarely go over a year, but nobody ever came even close to Bruno. I mean, yeah, he only held the WWE Championship twice in his career, but between those two title reigns, he had well over 1,000 days as champion, so I mean...
And you look at, the time that he got his neck broke by Stan Hansen,
Yes.
and his big match, I don't think it was Don Morocco. In the Yankee Stadium, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
And, just one of those guys that really paved the way for the new generation of wrestlers. The Hulk Hogans, the Bret Harts, Steve Austin, whatever,
Vincent James McMahon, the originator of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, as it was known at the time, is what really started that wrestling company in the New York territory in Madison Square Garden. Bruno Sammartino is what made Madison Square Garden one of the top venues to go to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Everybody and anybody would clamor to the Garden to see Bruno against superstar Billy Graham,
Bob Backlund,
Bob Backlund, Ivan Koloff,
Pat Patterson,
yeah,
Sergeant Slaughter,
Yep.
Hogan.
countless others. And you think, for as long as Bruno was in the Triple WF, And for the number of wrestling cards Bruno was on during his tenure in the Triple WF, and the number of times that building got sold out every night that Bruno was on a card is, we talk about records that'll stand the test of time. Undertaker with more wins at WrestleMania than anybody else. Oscar going 2.5 years undefeated. Then Max, I think, going for 50 years, whatever it was, before winning the World Series. Bruno Sammartino sold out that place 186 times, I think they said. That just goes to show you what the hold that Bruno had on the fans. Just a regular guy from Abruzzi, Italy.
Yes.
Coming to America.
Surviving World War II.
Surviving near death.
Yes, getting sick, almost dying.
In his childhood, and then eventually making his way to America, growing up, getting trained in wrestling, and then end up being in the Triple WF and being their world champion, and like I said, selling out the Garden night after night, however many times they were in New York at the Madison Square Garden. It's just phenomenal, and he will dearly be missed.
Yeah, so eventually at some point wrestling and orangutan.
Yeah.
There's famous story about that. You don't hear too much stories about that.
Yeah.
But definitely Bruno Sammartino is another living legend that is gonna be sorely missed by his fellow peers, people that began in the wrestling business because of him.
Yeah.
And
for wrestling fans, maybe my dad's age or the older generation of people that I'm sure would have grown up watching Bruno in the Garden wrestle in steel cage matches and
Don Morocco.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, rest in peace, Bruno. We will miss you. Never really grew up really watching you, but because of videos and now the WWE network know of you, and you know what, just rest in peace. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
So we begin this episode, and I know last year we had mentioned that we should, well, you said we should probably do a Backlash review of some kind.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it last week,
Yeah.
and there are almost 20 backlashes.
Yeah.
So I figured I picked 3 of what I consider to be the best backlashes anyways. So yeah, I figured we're gonna review one this week. We'll do one next week. The week after that is the backlash from this year.
Yes.
We'll do another episode, but with these ones that we do always air, I always air them publicly on Monday midnight, so that one will be, well, anyways, that. So, if that wasn't confusing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, today, I thought we would talk about Backlash, where it all began, 1999.
And at this point, In Your House was essentially kind of fading out, you could say, and they eventually changed the name to Backlash. Now, at this point, it was titled Backlash In Your House. Then, I think maybe following year or 2 years later, they just eliminated In Your House altogether and just started calling it, right, just Backlash.
Yes. Now, this is interesting because, you try to find this stuff on the network and they don't really go that far
Yeah.
backlash-wise, so you gotta do your own research on YouTube or whatever, so...
Thank you, YouTube.
Thank you, YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
But, we managed to find highlights of this show, and I gotta say, it took me back, man. As a 14-year-old kid, a grade 9, like I said before, it was all about The Rock and Austin, and I was an Austin fan. Unfortunately, I was in the minority, but...
Yeah.
And I understand that this year there was a lot of title changes, starting with The Rock and ending with The Big Show. But I still think it was one of my favorite years.
Yeah.
Wrestling-wise. So, then this was actually a pretty entertaining show.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't find the pre-show. Now, at the time, the pre-show was actually Livewire.
Yes.
So, it was already on TV, but it was on, like, TSN or some shit.
Yeah, I believe they started off with Livewire and then eventually went to Sunday Night Heat.
Yes, that's it. So
Yeah.
I think this was Sunday Night Heat. And it would have more matches. But this, looking here. So you have Nicole Bass and Val Venus versus D'Lo Brown and Ivory in a mixed take match.
Yes.
So, not knowing too much about this match, the fact that Val Venus and Nicole Bass had an interesting storyline.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of where the nation broke up, so...
I believe so. Well, you gotta remember, too, at this point, Farouk was with Bradshaw, and they were the Acolytes, and they were members of the Ministry of Darkness with Taker.
Right.
So.
That's right, yes.
Yes.
And so, you got this match now. Nicole Bass and Val Venus won.
Right.
And so that's that. And you have...
Yeah, not much to talk about there. You got Draws and Prince Albert against Two Months, the team of Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. This was the prelude to Too Cool.
Right. Yes, you know.
Too much, too cool.
You're right, and too much got But Brian Christopher, Scott Taylor, then they became too cool. Before that, it was
They were rivals.
yes, and that's funny how I remember that too.
Yeah.
But too hot Scott Taylor, too sexy Brian Christopher, and then you got, unfortunately, a few months later, Draws with the accident,
Yes.
and then with D'Lo Brown, who I'm pretty sure still in therapy over it, but.
Well, probably.
And then you have Albert, who is had a stellar career.
Oh, yeah. He was Prince Albert, and then became A-Train, and then I think he left, went to Japan, became Giant Bernard, and then was there for a few years, and then came back to WWE as Lord Tensai, and then they dropped the Lord part of it, and he just became Tensai, and now I believe he's the head trainer at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if there was anything between A-Train and the Giant Bernard thing in Japan. I don't think there was, though.
I can't really think about it. Yeah, I can't think. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Then there was this stuff with Brodus Clay, but we won't get into that. So,
What's written on her face? I don't know. For all I know, it could be a sushi menu.
yeah.
Something like that. Anyway.
But anyways, so Prince Albert and Draws won. Of course, Prince Albert, because this is the Attitude Era, we have to have, like, innuendos that kids won't know about, so
Yeah.
it's like Prince Albert, well, you look it up anyways. But anyhow,
Yeah, we probably shouldn't get into that.
yeah. Don't pierce your cock, kids. Anyway,
Yeah. Or, for that matter, if you're going to get piercings, limit yourself to 1, 2, 3, whatever. Don't go overboard with it.
yeah, one more hole and it qualifies as a flute. So, we get to
Anyway,
Kane, who defeated
Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man.
With test.
I gotta get my. But this was like very cool. Like, Big Boss Man was obviously one of the best big men in the WWE or elsewhere. Coming back, being the prison guard type heel Big Boss Man as
Yes.
opposed to
The
true-
Cobb County, Georgia
the
corrections
true-
officer.
Yeah. And being with the corporate team.
Yes.
So Kane won this match.
Yes.
And then we move on to Viscera. Yeah, Viscera, who defeated Test. And it's a shame, we don't have Test and Boss Man anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things where you look
Or
back.
Viscera.
Or Viscera, yeah. Or Nicole Bass.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where you look back and you go, Jesus Christ, we're like old. All these people are gone, and it's sad.
Oh, in those first 4 matches, Nicole Bass is dead.
Yep.
Val Venus is retired, I think. So is D'Lo Brown. He's, I think, a bouncer or whatever for Godfather's adult entertainment thing. Ivory just recently went into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Draws is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Prince Albert, like I mentioned, is now the head trainer at the Performance Center. Too much. No longer wrestle. Kane is here and there. Boss Man's dead. Viscera's dead. Test is dead. Good Lord Almighty.
Yeah. That's very sad.
Yes.
But anyhow, we get to the show. We've got the Ministry of Darkness,
Yeah.
which the Acolytes, Bradshaw, Farouk.
Raja Farouk against the Brood team of Christian Edge and Gangrel.
Holy shit, yeah.
Aye, yes.
Yeah, The Brood were my brother's favorite take teams at that time.
They were good.
Of course, he went through a vampire phase, so
Yeah.
whatever. It was a very good match, you know.
Yeah.
Both very good take teams, and it's, you know, Gangrel is just one of those people who is underrated as a wrestler.
Oh, extremely.
In the WWF now, he did go to Paragon Pro Wrestling 2 years ago. He's done a lot of other work in other promotions. So, you know, and then again, answer question, one of the best take teams of the Attitude Era.
Oh, without a doubt.
So, yeah, this was a really good match, which went to the Ministry after a clothesline from Hell from Bradshaw. And, you know, just what a good match. I can't say any. And I think also, too, at that time, the Brood at one point were with the Ministry.
Yes, they were.
And then they broke up, obviously.
The one thing that is funny is for years you talk about, Stan Lansing, what a wicked lariat he had. He could hit you like a ton of bricks, and, you know, he was pretty much legally blind, so he was just going by what he essentially knew, I guess. But you want to talk about a dude that could hit you and make you do a damn 360 backwards?
Oh, God, yeah.
Fucking Bradshaw could lay it into you, and you'd go, holy shit, what the fuck just hit me?
Yep, nowadays he can do that with his grandpa arms. So anyway, we go on to
Al Snow and Hardcore Holly in a hardcore match for the hardcore title.
yes. Yeah, these two went at it pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
All the time in that year anyways. I think this is the one where Al Snow and Hardcore Holly wrestled all the way to the lake. And or maybe that's the one pay-per-view.
There in the highlight package we saw, there was one point where they did leave the arena and they were outside in the parking lot. It looked like they were in a dumpster or something.
Yeah.
So,
But Al Snow won the title.
with a little help from his head.
Oh yeah, that mannequin.
And I don't mean the one on his shoulders, I mean the mannequin head.
Yeah, what is? Yes, that was a good mannequin. Very creepy. You know, Al Snow, like we said, should be in the Hall of Fame at some point. There's gotta be that kind of point where they have to bring him in because, okay, he was only hardcore champion, but he did a lot more in there. Like he was in the union, the team union, in the job squad.
I don't think I remember the unit.
Well, there was Big Show, Mankind, unless that was the job squad. And
No, the job squad was Al Snow, Hardcore Holly, and I know it was Al Snow and Hardcore Holly, but there's another one in there. I didn't. Blue Meanie, maybe?
yes, I think it was him.
But, yeah.
The union, yeah, that was Big Show. Mankind, and I can't remember it. Well, I'll find it and put it on the video.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so then we get to
The Godfather and Gold Dust
And
for the IC title.
speaking of the Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
You know, him and Goldust had this weird ass angle for 2 years at least.
Where Meanie thought Gold Dust was his mother.
I know. Oh my god.
You know, earlier, long before we even did this video, we were talking about shit WWE got away with during the 90s that they probably wouldn't get away with now.
Even when I was 14, I thought this was shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have used the Blue Meanie better, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, they even included Ryan Shamrock at some point, I think. It was either Ryan Shamrock or Tori.
Well, You know, it's funny. I do remember an angle with Ryan Shamrock and Mr. Ass.
Yes.
The funny thing is, there was no actual sibling named Ryan Shamrock.
Nope.
It's just Ken and Frank.
Yeah. Oh, I think Ryan was kayfabe's sister to
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock. So.
Yeah.
But this was cool. You know, Godfather ended up winning this match with accidentally hitting Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
And there was powder involved, I think.
Yes.
So it was like, yeah, Godfather, and in a way, it's kind of sad because what month was this?
April 25th of 99.
Yeah, so the next month would be the unfortunate, over the edge where Owen Hart would pass on before facing the Godfather for the Intercontinental Championship, and I was kind of looking forward to that match.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people were.
Knowing what happened, Monday morning, I feel bad for a lot of people that were at that show.
Yeah.
But
having to actually witness that.
Oh fuck. You think that, yeah. We'll talk about that next year, leading into the 20th anniversary of that incident. There's a lot of people who think, well, the show should have stopped there, but there's a lot of different opinions about that.
They were already, I'd say, at least a good hour and a half maybe into the show, roughly. Not gonna go, oh, sorry, with the incident that's happening with Blue Blazer, we're gonna cancel the rest of the card, we're gonna end the show. Good night, everybody. We'll give you an update tomorrow on Raw. Could you imagine how pissed off people would have been?
Yeah, I guess.
Now, yes, I know what happened to Owen was tragic, and probably the right thing to do would have been to maybe end the show, but like the old saying goes, the shows must go on no matter what.
Well, yeah. You can argue that, but at a certain point you gotta think, well, okay, what do we do with this situation? Some people say stop the show, some people say, well, you gotta keep going, That's kind of...
I'm sure people backstage, like in the gorilla position, when they seen the camera cut away to the audience, they were probably like, oh fuck, what the hell just happened? And then probably word got to them that he fell, and get EMTs and whatever out there to help him, and then they probably were even like, fuck, what do we do? Do we stop the show? Do we keep the show going? And kind of mulling over situations in your head, and then it's just like, okay, what match is next? Triple H and Rock.
Yeah.
I don't think that was it, but just as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, Triple H is ready, Rock's ready. We got Owen in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. Okay, you two go. Have your match. Let's keep this thing going.
And I don't think anybody knew how bad...
Oh no, I'm sure nobody realized how the severity of what happened. Like, all they would have saw was him fall, hit his head on the turnbuckle, and him laying there, and they're all like, oh, and, you got EMTs and referees and personnel out there, whatever, attending to him, and it's like, oh man, I hope he's alright, I hope he didn't get too badly injured, and then you find out that basically it was more or less blunt force trauma to the head that killed him.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're falling from, 80 feet up or whatever it was, and the speed and the velocity he fell at. Anyway,
we'll talk about it next year in a video. I know you weren't meaning to laugh at it, but
No, but
we will talk about it in a later episode next year.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah, you had Godfather win the match, retaining the title against Goldust.
right.
Go on now to the New Age Outlaws against Jeff Jarrett and, of course, the aforementioned Owen Hart
Yeah.
for the number one contenders for the tag titles.
Yeah. And the New Age Outlaws won this one.
Yes.
Which is interesting because. Oh, wait a sec. I would have thought that Jeff and Owen were champions at this point. I guess not.
No.
Because, anyways, this was a good match too. Like, I really enjoyed the New Age Outlaws as a tag team. I wasn't really much for Jeff Jarrett, but
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were. I think this was a good tag team, and it's a shame that it ended this way, but they could have gone somewhere. And
Yeah, when Jeff and Owen were a tag team, I mean, okay, yes, they held the tag titles, but other than that, I really don't think there was too much done with them.
no,
It didn't really go very far, other than that.
well, no, because then later on, Owen Hart would do the Blue Blazer gimmick, and
Yeah.
they'd have Owen Hart pull off the mask at some point on Raw.
Yeah.
Which, okay, it was what it was, but
At the same time, it's like, we got a good thing going, why not stick with it? But, yeah,
you got a rematch from WrestleMania. You got Mankind versus The Big Show.
and a boiler room brawl.
Oh, yeah. And those matches were pretty cool. You got one 2 years prior with Undertaker and Mankind.
Yes.
And just an awesome stipulation.
Yes.
Be-
Beat your opponent senseless, leave the boiler room, make your way to the ring, and then essentially pin your opponent in the ring.
right. So this was a pretty cool match, the violence that Mankind can dish out.
Oh, God.
You got The Big Show and his prime. So, this was a good match.
One thing I remember about the boiler room brawl, though, was, yeah, like you said, that Mankind against Taker, which was I don't remember if I've seen the whole match itself, but seeing highlights of it, and it was wicked. And then, got Mankind against Big Show, and then there might have been one or two others. But seemed like later on into the 90s, and getting deeper into the Attitude Era, yeah, they still used the boiler room brawl concept,
Yeah.
but it just ended up turning into a big joke.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, fucking Mankind beating up Santa in a damn boiler
Oh,
room.
God, yeah, that was bullshit.
Fuck.
But, yeah. That's funny how things can mess up in a minute.
Oh.
So, anyhow, you get another match. You got X-Pac versus Triple H. And this is, another WrestleMania thing. See, this is Triple H versus Kane at WrestleMania. Then you had X-Pac lose the European Championship to Shane McMahon. And that's when the unthinkable happened. And Triple H turned his back on DX.
Yeah.
Which was a fucking shame, because whatever. DX was another one of my favorite stables at that point.
Oh, DX was awesome.
Oh, God, of course, that's who I am now, but... anyway, so yeah, and I didn't really see WrestleMania or hear any results or watch Raw too much after that, but I did see a point where the corporation came out, and I can't remember who they were beating up, but then Triple H came in and joined them, so it's kind of fishy on what was going on, but this is pre-game Triple H.
And the thing about it, too, is it seemed to be, at this point, DX was on again, off again about, breaking up, and Triple H against X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws having their own riff, and then all this other stuff, and then something would bring them back together. They'd be together for a little bit, and then something would happen, and they get pissed off at each other and whatever, and it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, like they broke up, they became a stable again in 2000, a heel stable this time, like they were in the beginning, and then they broke up, and then didn't really get, well, they didn't really see each other again until 2011 maybe, whenever, no, that's, the 1000 episode hit.
Yeah.
So that was like the first time, and then of course they're, back together. James' talent relations. You got Billy Gunn, who's in Japan, and other stuff. X-Pac, of course, walks around carrying this staple dog around, and is in WWE every once in a while, and then Triple H, who's still, the CEO, and doing a hell of a job running NXT and now 205, so...
Yeah.
But this was a good match. I mean, you got the interference from China, who tries to get Triple H to win the match, then Kane comes out, and Kane...
chokes out both of them.
Yes, and, this is... something, whatever you can't get away with now, is that, you can't choke slam a female wrestler, which Kane choke slams China. China was a trooper for everything, though.
Oh god, yeah.
But yeah, so Triple H won the match, and again, this is pre-game Triple H, because SummerSlam, after SummerSlam, he wins the WWF title, so...
And of course, he cuts that amazing promo and an interview with Jim Ross.
Yeah. It's a hole in my fucking stomach. You can't say that.
Like hell I can't.
Yeah.
Wanna talk about the game? I am the fucking game.
Yeah.
And it took off from there. Then you had Undertaker against Ken Shamrock.
Yes. At some point, I'm not sure when this feud happened, but again, Ken Shamrock transferring from MMA to WWE, former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It's a shame he didn't stick around long enough.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have been WWE Champion at some point.
Could have been.
But Undertaker, of course, won this match with a tombstone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then we get to the main event, one of the best feuds of the Attitude Era.
Rock and Austin.
Oh, yeah. This, WrestleMania 15 also saw one of the best matches of WrestleMania. And I didn't put it on the best WrestleMania, worst WrestleMania video that we did, but this match was, like I said, this match was my 9th grade year. And, everybody was about The Rock in Austin.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy shit, And so Austin won at WrestleMania. Austin decides he wants the Smoking Skull belt. So they gave him the Smoking Skull belt. The corporation tried to fuck with him again.
Yeah.
You have The Rock throwing him off the bridge into the icy cold water. He comes out on Raw, cuts this fake funeral or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has the belt with him. So
Yeah.
Austin comes out, kicks his ass.
With a monster truck.
Come on, yeah, they bring him to the back. They have like this big pit there. And eventually Shane McMahon goes behind Austin with a shovel.
Bing!
And that was basically the end of that Raw. So Shane McMahon was the special guest referee of this match. And I will retract one of my responses there, talking about whatever pay-per-view it was. As much as I say Shane's not a professional wrestler, and he should let other wrestlers go at it. For what it's worth, at the Attitude Era, Shane McMahon was one of the best wrestlers there,
Oh yeah.
winning the Intercontinental Championship, doing a bunch of crazy ass moves. You know, it's kind of, I don't know where to put Shane. It really didn't seem right, Survivor Series 2016,
Nah.
to put him in that match. However,
I mean, it worked out pretty well.
yeah.
Although, boy, did he ever get jacked up, though.
Oh, I know.
Going for a coast to coast and get speared by Roman, and holy fuck,
Jesus.
that landing was wicked.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of times where I thought Shane would never wrestle again. But this match was cool. I mean, this match, basically like WrestleMania 15, this was, disqualification.
No holds barred match, yeah.
Yeah, and it was probably one of the best matches of that year. And,
Yeah.
in the ring, out of the ring, on the ramp, on the stage, they probably fought in the audience. There was one point where The Rock had the camera.
Yeah.
He's talking about SmackDown Hotel. They get Austin coming up, and he does the bird, a stunner. Shane McMahon does the whole classic thing from Survivor Series Deadly Games,
Yeah.
where he does the up to your count, he goes for a third, and then he does the double bird himself. They tried everything to get Austin to lose,
Yeah.
but eventually Austin won the title. He had both title belts,
Yeah.
the WWF title and then his WWF title version,
Yeah.
holding them up. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, yeah. One thing I will say, though, is talk about Shane McMahon being a good wrestler during the 90s, or even a few matches he's had over the last few years now. He's been back in WWE, whether it be with AJ Styles, or Undertaker, or the Survivor Series match, or whatever. You really go in depth overall performance of Shane and his mindset, his skill set, and the things he would do. My personal opinion is this. Say somehow the dictionary went digital. Just a hypothesis. And you got the definition, and then you were able to put pictures next to those definitions. The word, and say you get to this D section, and you got different words and different definitions. You put the word daredevil, and then whatever the definition is for the word daredevil. And the right beside you should have two pictures. One is Shane McMahon, and another one of Mick Foley.
Yeah, that's true.
Because those two, no matter what you've seen guys do as far as tables matches, ladder matches, TLC matches, hardcore matches, no holds barred matches, no disqualification matches, etc., etc., nobody defined Daredevil more than those two.
No, and I mean, Shane McMahon's one of those people that you could classify as fearless.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this guy had a match with Kurt Angle, and like I said before, after that match, I thought, wow, he must feel like a pillow right now, because
Oh,
being
yeah.
thrown through the glass and then going on the inside, being thrown outside and being thrown in a glass not breaking.
Kurt Angle goes to give you a belly-to-belly suplex through glass. It doesn't break. You fall practically damn near on the top of your head.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy fuck, I think his neck's broken or he's unconscious. And his leg, Shane goes, do it again. And Kurt's like, alright. Does it again. This time it breaks. Go through. go to do it again. Inside out, same thing. Glass doesn't break. Shane slides down, and at this point, it's just and Shane's getting pretty PO that this glass isn't breaking, and Shane goes to Curtis like, "Fucking throw me through it." And Curtis goes, "Alright."
Yeah.
Throws him head first through it. Glass shatters everywhere. Shane's a bloody mess. Kurt Angle's got broken fucking tailbone from landing on his back on concrete. Shane's dazed as all hell from landing on his head fucking twice.
And then you look at the match at WrestleMania 32 with The Undertaker, you know, the Undertaker is lying on the table and you see Shane looking up at the cage and I'm going, no. Oh, fuck, he's gonna do it.
Starts clambering up the side of the cage to the top.
The McMahon's logic is give the people what they want.
No matter what you gotta put yourself through. And he's standing up there, looking down, crosses himself, and goes for it, of course. Taker gets up off the table, Shane smacks through the table, and it's like, dear God, he just fell fucking 25 feet through a table to the floor.
Yeah.
And then he tries to duplicate that at Hell in a Cell against fucking Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn pulls Kevin off the damn table. Essentially the same outcome. Shane off the top of the cell, through the table, to the floor.
Yeah. So,
And it really makes you wonder, like, how the fuck does that man not have any broken goddamn bones?
or brain damage.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyhow, so, yeah, Austin and Rock, definitely one of the best feuds, you know, in this time. And this was a good show. And again, this would probably be the last in your house pay-per-view. It would just be Backlash from here on in. And so this was a pretty good pay-per-view review. And I know that when I said look at the look back episodes where we were going to do the Big Four pay-per-view of what state they were going to be in as the same state of this year.
Yes.
And I lied! Roll that egg! No, I'm just kidding. I was trying to do the Eddie Guerrero thing. But anyway, yeah. So, this was good. Next week, I'd like to talk about another pay-per-view that was really cool. It had all the major titles in the main event. Backlash 2001. You have the best tag team of the Attitude Era, two-man power trip,
Yes.
and of course, another great tag team, the Brothers of Destruction.
Yes.
So, this was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
And, so for me, Matt, this is Killer Kyle, and we will talk to you next week. We'll talk to you later. See ya.
Oh, fuck. This one. There we go.
Oh, yeah.